Alright guys, TacticalRab here back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoyed your day so far. We are joined today on the channel for the first time in a very long time by a very special guest. That's Dylan Envoy Hannon. Happy 21st birthday. Actually, I think it was just around the corner or just a couple of weeks ago.
Thanks for
welcome
having me
to
on.
the club. And thanks very much for joining me. First question, I suppose, Envoy versus Envoy. That's a big debate. I'm always torn on this because not too long ago, I used to say Envoy. And I know you were on the podcast recently and you said it was like from the French, from Messenger or something like that. And it used to be Envoy, now it's Envoy. Now I say Envoy because people in the comments told me I was wrong. I wanted some clarification on that.
So you could say either way, obviously, like we already got that. But I was like, back in the day, I was like, you just say whatever. But then at launch weekend this last year, Puckett convinced me. He's like, bro, if you came up with it like from a French like word, you got to go with the French thing because he announced the launch weekend or whatever, like the walkouts. So he's like, you got to do Envoy, and I was like, all right, whatever. And then from that point on, I was like, all right, I think that's the cooler way to say it. So
I think it's nice, yeah. That's cool to hear. And
I kind of switched up on Chance. He's kind of mad at me. But,
I was confusing me because Miles says it like Envoy and Chance are saying Envoy, and then last season they went back and forth. I'm sure they're in a muddle, but I think we got it all figured out now.
There you go.
So I found when I was DMing you to get you on the channel, I found that we talked in 2019 actually, way back in the day. I'd kind of forgotten about this, but
I think when I was on Midnight, right?
Yeah, on Midnight, yeah. And I thought that'd be a
long time ago.
I thought that'd be a cool story back in the day. And as I was going to say, like a lot has changed since then.
So much.
I think like it's a really interesting discussion around that team because a lot of people, they always talk about, okay, what could have been with that lineup? Like what exactly happens? I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on that because I guess my perspective is that you were so good right at the start, but you'd imagine that other teams would have caught up at some point, right?
Like we had like a high skill, or not as high as a skill ceiling as like obviously the pro teams that have been around for forever, but our teamwork was really good, and we probably were one of the best respawn teams in the game. And notoriously, the players on that team were decent at search, so we'd made search work, and that's why we were like a threat at the beginning of the game. I think if we went to Fort Worth, we would have got top 3, top 4 guaranteed. As for winning the event, I don't know. When we lost to LG and Rec at like in the Pro League, that really took like some hard hits on us. So I don't know how we would have done with losing at a tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, crazy, man. So if you guys are listening aren't aware, that was the team of JetLi, Brack, Lamagod, and Parzelion, and Envoy at the time. I mean, crazy lineup. I don't really... It's somewhat unclear. I don't know if you can shed any light on this, on exactly what like caused the downfall of that team. Because to my understanding at the time, it was like, I don't know, the guy, it's K2 or something, was looking to sign you to maybe higher level contracts such that when it was franchising that he could sell you on for more. That was kind of the rumors that were going around, but I don't know if you can give any light into what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, so obviously the contract we weren't happy with, but the bigger thing is the guy came to me and he tried getting me to drop my whole team for a bunch of other pros that didn't make the league. And I was like, dude, we're making it work right now. We're doing it well. This is like our best chance at maybe doing well at Fort Worth. This was right before Fort Worth, so there was no chance I was gonna like let my team get dropped from me. And then ultimately, I mean, we had to all split our separate ways. And MLG, CWL, they really helped us out there.
Yeah, I remember like Adam Apicella was talking about that at the time that he was involved in sorting that out. Wow, craziness, man. So
it's
then,
crazy
okay, go on.
It's crazy that to get where I am now, all that stuff had to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think if I didn't get on Gen G, I'd probably never be a part of this timeline or anywhere near where I am right now, which is absolutely berserk, and I'm super grateful for that, but I wish I could have seen it through with the Midnight guys.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because as you say, like it's worked out nicely for you, and then you look at some of the guys that were on that team that were so promising, and it just hasn't, like the dominoes haven't fallen their way, I suppose. But Yeah, I guess, okay, you go into Modern Warfare, come off that Gen G team that did pretty decent. There was a question really coming into Modern Warfare. I think we've heard about that potential, like, was it the Seattle squad with Arcites? That
Yeah.
was like a possibility. And then Huntsmen kind of swooped in last minute to pick you guys up. So, like, were you ever looking at that as a possibility, right? Because your career trajectory was crazy, going from Midnight, then to Gen G, then straight onto basically OpTic. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, super crazy. I mean, obviously, that's like pretty spot on. Like, we were going to go to Seattle, and then this opportunity arose last minute, and we just thought, me and Alec were like kind of a duo package. We thought it'd be better to go this route, and obviously, we didn't get the results we wanted at the end of the year, winning champs, but that's on us. You know, we had the potential to do it. We choked some series, and we probably weren't the best team we could have been at the time, or made like, the best plays, most consistent plays. But ultimately, I was happy with my decision. Go with that squad.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong, right? And especially one question I suppose I had was on the content side, because as of late, you've been absolutely killing it. I saw you start to upload videos, and I was like, damn, this guy's going to blow past my sub count in a couple of weeks. And
I saw your tweet or
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you hit 100K yet, or is it on the horizon?
I'm at like 83 right now.
Okay,
We're
not
pushing
bad,
to
not
get to
bad.
90. So,
Yeah, no, well, if you guys are watching haven't subbed yet, definitely going to be worth it. But like that seems to have happened in the last couple of months, right? I feel like last year during Modern Warfare, there wasn't as much. I don't know. It didn't seem like you guys were making as much content. I wonder if it was did Hex maybe think after your 1v1 against TJ, like, okay, we really got to push this guy, or was it more that he was focused? Was he? He's probably his mind was elsewhere, right, on the OpTic reacquisition stuff, but.
So it's kind of the opposite way. Hex and the editors all at Huntsman or OpTic now were pushing me for the whole year. Do YouTube, stream more. And that's like me holding off. Part of the reason because like obviously I'm a competitor at heart, like competing before anything. So even when scrims get bad, I'll stop streaming. Like I did that like a couple times last year where I took a week break, 2-week break at a time of not streaming, just for the sake of the team to get better. And I just really wanted to like focus on competing. And this year, I mean, I'm still focusing on competing, but I found out through the off season that, I can still do YouTube and stuff. People still want to watch the VODs and everything. So that's what I do, upload the VODs, some live comms. We're obviously doing Road to 100L as well. And yeah, it's overall good for everyone involved just to, try to push for that extra push on YouTube, I guess.
It's great for the scene, It's there's always some questions around that, like the balance between competing and doing YouTube and stuff. But I feel like sometimes uploading the odd scrim map or doing the odd live com here and there, I feel like if you manage your time properly, I guess it shouldn't really take away from competing. And clearly, guys like Scump have done it for years, and cool to see you following those footsteps, I suppose. So, next little segment here is going to be a couple of trivia questions. So, there's just going to be 3 of them, relatively quick fire. Don't worry if you get any of them wrong. I'm not really sure how difficult these are going to be, or it's kind of challenging, because I was wondering, okay, if I have a few pros on, how can I equate the difficulty over time? And maybe we could keep a leaderboard if you do pretty well. Who knows? Right. Anyway, so question number 1, 2018, CWL Seattle. This is the event that the OpTic dynasty collapsed in. You went to this event, you placed top 48. So
I remember.
I'd like to know 2 of your 3 teammates from this event. Could you name 2?
I can name you all 3. Robbie B, Fish, and Super.
Oh, damn. I even had some clues lined up. I was going to say, okay, like, someone was like a Black Ops 4 sub, someone was a Modern Warfare sub. Okay, way too easy. You almost should get a bonus point for that one.
You don't forget getting top 48. Yeah, that's my second worst placing.
The one before that was top 80, and I was like, okay, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he'll remember the top 80 more than that one. But yeah, fair play. Yeah. Crazy.
We were a super good online team, and then we went to LAN. I didn't do too good myself. My teammates didn't do too hot, and I think I lost to Dylan Cobb that event.
Oh, really? Wow.
In open bracket.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, because I went to Dylan's. I was at his first event. It was at CDL Birmingham. I remember I was a referee at that event. Little side story. Probably wearing this exact top because Insomnia gave us the tops. Just like a volunteer referee. And I remember that was the Iyama monitor. event.
Yeah, I didn't go to
And
that one, but
yeah, I was gonna say. So it was actually crazy. I remember Dylan Cotter, he was on Radix Esports or something, and he was playing in the open bracket, and he like handed me his controller to just play, like to see what the input delay felt like, and the delay was crazy. But I think it was to do with the Cronuses. Like I got him a new Cronus, and he seemed to
yeah,
be okay. Like I don't know how
yeah.
much of a deal the monitors were, but the
Good guy
Cronuses
rap,
were
getting people the good
full of that
Cronuses.
event. Yeah, I did my best. I mean, everyone was like, I've got a problem. I'll just go get him a new Cronus, and it would kind of sort it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so fast forward 2019 Pro League qualifier. You guys obviously dominate the thing. You go 6-0. Can you name the other teams in your group that also qualified for the league?
I think I can. There's four other teams, right?
Damn
Five
right,
and seven
yeah.
qualified.
Yeah, crazy that
Most
5 out of 7 qualified from the group.
That was the most competitive pool, like on
Yeah,
paper.
dominated
Or
it.
all right, so there's us. There's Accelerate, which is Profeezy's team.
Yeah.
Overtime, which is the Frenchies.
Mm-hmm.
Team Space.
Yeah.
Yep, Team Space that turned into Gen G, and then missing one. Mazer and Pittsburgh Knights didn't qualify.
I think that's right, yeah.
So who was the team that qualified? Oh man, why am I forgetting? It has to have been another pro team, right?
It's a big name.
100T. Yeah, that's the first
well
team
done.
we beat.
That was impressive, yeah. That crazy event that they even made it out, you know. It felt like for a time it was touch and go.
Yeah, I
FaZe
think
didn't qualify.
we started off like we played them first, and like that's a big win. So after we started off that hot and we like eliminated one of the top teams from our group, I was like, dude, we can qualify. We can qualify.
That was a crazy event. All right, so fair play, 2 out of 2. And the final one is Modern Warfare. So fast forwarding another year, right. The crazy SnD St. Petrograd 5-0 full sale. You're clutching every single round. Need you to defuse round 11. Question is, which home series was that at?
You're gonna get me with this one. There was too many home series. I know it was versus Minnesota. But
I think you guys placed top 4.
Placed top 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna say New York. It wasn't New York. Seattle?
Nice try. It was Dallas. It was the very first one, I think, after everything came back together. It was on April the 11th, to my understanding.
Wait, was that the event? We played Dallas that event, right? And that was the only time we lost to them.
Yeah, I think that might be true. I'm actually not sure. I'll have to check. But you guys ended up coming top 4. It was actually interesting. Minnesota came second after you completely bodied them in the groups. But yeah.
They played Dallas in finals, right?
They lost to Florida. I think they maybe beat them. I'm not really sure. I'll bring it up on the screen for the guys watching.
All right.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, 2 out of 3. Not a bad showing at all. And let's continue to the present day. Right. Black Ops Cold War, OpTic Chicago, teaming with Dashy for the first time. The vibes have been looking good. I guess my question would be, are the vibes too vibey? Like you're on this, you're in this kind of leadership type role now on the squad. Do you feel like, I don't know, are you going to be able to keep these guys in check, I suppose is my question.
I think everyone does a good job of keeping each other in check. And the thing is none of us want to lose. So I mean, we talked a little beforehand, like we were winning a lot of our scrims for a while. We obviously beat 100 Thieves in the show match, but our scrims recently haven't been going the best. And it was kind of like a reality check, wake up call. And everyone was pretty mad at themselves, mad at the team that, you know, like what's going on? How can we fix this? So everyone's really, you know, holds their own when it comes to that. But everyone being in Texas is awesome. We all are like within 2-3 minutes of each other. Seth's like 5 minutes down the road. So we grab dinner, you know, we're having a movie day today, which is pretty vibey. No other team's doing that. No other team's having movie day.
Absolutely.
But it's great. It's great so far. And obviously Matt and Brandon are loving Texas because, you know, the internet here is superior and the connection is great.
Yeah, I can't imagine what Formal was feeling like last season. I think you mentioned on the OpTic podcast, the recent one, the number 10. He was like, I didn't think it'd be this much better. Like, I thought it'd be better, but I wasn't quite expecting that.
Yeah, he told me yesterday, the day before that, like last year, like he still dropped like a 1.1 or something at Champs, the 1.0. He said last year, if I played on this connection, Champs would have been a whole different story. And who knows?
Wow.
I
I
mean,
was going to say, who knows, right?
that's like speculation, but I mean, obviously having all of our players down here would have been better advantage. You saw with the Hunt or OpTic at the time,
Mm.
when they all four came to Texas, they were jokes that they were like a better team than they were in LA. So who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this season because you've still got teams like LAG. I think they're still playing out of LA. So, but it's interesting because it depends on the matches. Because I think Octane was saying that the Seattle game they were playing on some server that actually gave the LA team an advantage. So it's just like a discussion I wish we didn't have to have, but kind of is what it is. So
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. So you did mention that series up against 100 Thieves or Los Angeles Thieves. I kind of mixed them up few and far between. But yeah, I guess you've talked about I guess, good humility these last few days to say, okay, maybe we haven't been as strong since then. Maybe, I don't know, like when you win a match so comfortably, there's a question as to whether you get somewhat complacent going into your scrims thinking that, okay, it's going to be too easy or whatever. But I had a question about Los Angeles Thieves as a team because they obviously didn't look very great in that matchup. And recently in scrims the last couple of days also doesn't seem to have been too good. So I was wondering what you think about the long-term potential of that team because it's certainly on paper they've got phenomenal names. I imagine they continue to improve over time. But there's been some questions about, given all the chaos of the off-season, they couldn't get Priester that they wanted to get. Maybe that team's in an interesting spot.
Yeah. I don't know. I still like going into the match playing them. I regard them as probably like the better top half of teams, along with us up there as well. And you got like Dallas, FaZe, Florida. I'd probably name those teams, 100T, us as top 5. No discredit to any of their teams, but just from my personal experience in the scrims, I'd put them high up there. And then the match, I don't know if it was the maps we played versus them or if they weren't taking it as serious as we were, but obviously we won 3-0 and we played them in scrims yesterday. It didn't go too well either, but I don't know. That could just be beginning of the season jitters or, them still trying to figure out what they need to do, to succeed, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've been having bad days too, and luckily that was a show match. So, we obviously like the win. They're probably not too happy about the loss, but it's to gauge really where you're at.
Yeah, precisely. It's a good opportunity for them as well, right? To just be like, okay, well, we've clearly got a lot of work to do. We've got to put our heads down and focus up for the season, which is the best thing that you can really have happen to you. I think FaZe probably felt a similar thing after they lost to Florida. So I suppose speaking of those two teams, your group for the season, that's going to be Atlanta, Florida, Toronto, Paris, and Los Angeles Guerrillas, I believe. Seems like a tough group to me. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of talented teams in that pool. I know there was some discussion about that Hex. Obviously, it was recorded like a week ago or whatever. But he had the opportunity to put Florida in the other pool, Los Angeles Thieves in your pool, which maybe in hindsight would have been a better thing. But I suppose, are you feeling pretty confident regardless?
Yeah, confident regardless. I mean, looking at the pools, I'd say they're pretty even. Obviously, like you said, we probably wouldn't want to put Florida in the other pool. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to face each other, in winners or losers, depending how we do, pretty quick right away in the tournament, because half the teams go to winners, half the team go to losers. So I'm not too concerned. And like, there's only 2 pools. So it's not like I could have got, like out of 4, we got like the worst one or, the hardest pool. I think relatively every event, the pools are going to be pretty even or pretty hard. So.
It's a nice little format they have this year. It's kind of interesting. I think it's a little bit difficult to explain maybe to new fans. But yeah, the idea is that there's these 3 home series, even though they're still calling them home series. And last year we had home series winners. This time there's no winner of the home series. It's just seeding matches for the major. But I like the format. I mean, you can't really go wrong with 5 major tournaments and then champs. So interesting question for you. As you talked about earlier, the fact that, okay, Huntsmen last year wasn't the ideal result for you, top 3 at champs. We saw when you weren't on the team in Black Ops 4 as well, the OpTic team started out very strong. They won Las Vegas. They looked like the best team in the game. I mean, they were the best team in the game. Dashy was the best player in the game at the start of the year. And then as things go on, other teams get better. United, 100 Thieves end up coming 1-2 at champs, and OpTic come 3rd, right? So it's been something of a trend with not your teams necessarily, but with OpTic teams in general the last few seasons, that towards the end of the title start off really hot and it doesn't quite end up to the same degree. So tailing up to this kind of top 3 at the end of the champ. So What are you planning to do this time around to make sure that doesn't happen again?
I'm trying to clear whatever curse Scump has on him. We got to get that cleared ASAP because third is a tradition for him at this point. But honestly, jokes aside, I think the biggest thing it comes down to is chemistry. For example, my Gen G team, we didn't have the most firepower, but we had really good chemistry. And when we were in sync, we made it look really good. And if this team that I have is in sync, or the team we had last year is in sync with our chemistry, we're playing our lives, doing stuff together, having good communication, then I think the firepower we bring is just the extra push to, destroy teams. Realistically, the only way we lose is really getting outplayed. We're all gonna pick up kills, and that's why the thing with these teams in the past is, they're gonna steal a respawn. We got to worry about searches. So we've been really stressing on playing best of 11s early in the season just to get the extra search reps in, and be prepared when the season comes around.
Yeah, that's really important, I think, especially the search and destroy stuff, because there's going to be a lot of game fives this season. I mean, pretty much we tend to see that if any team wants to win any particular event, they've got to win at least one game five to get there.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll be a similar thing this season. So, because I remember last season, just a bit of a tangent, but RCTs maybe said at some point, I forget when it was, that like you guys had barely even practiced any search for the first several months of the game. Clearly,
correct.
Very much a change of perceptions this time, right?
Yeah, I think last year going into champs, playing a bunch of best 11s versus AM and pro teams, I think the guys, but more myself, realized that this is the most optimal practice that we have ever gotten throughout this whole year. So if we implement that into like our regular routine, it's gonna like benefit everyone a lot. It makes sure everyone's on the same page and everyone knows what they're doing.
It's like a tournament mindset as well, right? You're playing a best of 11, like there's kind of
Exactly.
you get in that headspace.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, final question for you. I thought there was no better player to ask than yourself on this one. There's been some discussion, maybe in the coming years, that, okay, this year we go to PC, controller, you can use any league-approved controller you want. At some point in the future, the league might decide, okay, well, we're actually going to allow people to use any input device they would so choose. So, I am very concerned about the potential of this. I don't know whether that's a route they will go down. I hope it doesn't, because my fear is that within 1-2 years, it's wiped out like 80% of our pros, because you get a lot of the top like North American CS players that are now at Valorant because maybe they're not quite good enough for CS. Maybe they come over to COD, and they might get rid of a lot of our pros that can't compete with the keyboard and mouse. But on the other hand, there's been some discussion. I think Scump and Nature also have talked about it, that okay, well, movement on controller is a lot easier with the aim assist in the game. It kind of balances things out. So there's a question as to whether if that did happen, could players compete? Would some players, maybe like yourself, actually play on keyboard and mouse instead? Because a lot of people are very talented gamers, can just do it on all input devices. So I'm intrigued to hear what your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, so when I originally think about it, obviously you want to say that PC has a lot higher limits than console, and I think it also is harder to be good at PC when it comes to movement. For instance, when I keyboarded, I was one of the very few keyboarders that used a keyboard and a mouse. Most people would use a controller in their left hand, a mouse in their right hand. Which
Wow,
I don't know.
I didn't
know
know
if a
about
lot
that.
of people know.
That's
Yeah,
so crazy.
or people would use like Wii nunchucks in their left hand, because the movement is it's actually very hard to be good at and be consistent. So I think for the first 5 years of any input device, I think controller would dominate still. Maybe if the game, like how the games are made, is changed, then PC could do a lot better. Say there was less movement, it was more about sniping and just aim, maybe bigger maps or something. Then I could see PC taking over. But if you got Shotzzy slide canceling at you, a PC player is not keeping up 100 out of 100 times. Like Shotzi's going to have the upper advantage with aim assist and his movement compared to these PC players. But eventually, yeah, they're not the people that are in CS, Valorant, that aren't like at the tippy top, that they're still like top AMs or semi pros. They would definitely come over and cause some havoc, because if you're that good with a mouse, you can use that
Cause
to
some
your
damage.
advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I guess I hadn't thought about like how much in in a game like Counter-Strike, obviously it's designed from the ground up to be played on keyboard and mouse, and therefore the movement is very much left, right, forward, backwards type of stuff.
Exactly.
Crouch, jump, whatever. Whereas in Call of Duty, movement is the crux of basically everything you do. So yeah, that's a good point. I actually didn't know about the fact people use it like Wii nunchucks and stuff. That's
it's majority of people that use the
yeah.
controllers, and like you got to think about it too. Like for instance, me, I don't know if you feel the same, but when my movement's off, my shot's kind of off too. So if I can't imagine if someone has better movement than you and you're just stuck in the ground, that it can't go too well.
Yeah, it must feel pretty tough. I also feel like watching it be played on keyboard and mouse, there's something strange about it. I don't really know. Can't put my finger on it exactly, but watching people use a keyboard and mouse, it just doesn't look right on COD. I don't know. But
yeah. Besides Warzone, it looks kind of fine. But
yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
When the Warzone guys are like playing Cold War at the beginning of the game and stuff, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, precisely. Anyway, well, thank you very much indeed for your time. I think we had a great chat there. And well, yeah, thanks very much again. If you got any final words for those who may or may not be watching.
I mean, thanks for having me on, and appreciate everyone watching that supports us. And hopefully we can live up to expectations this season.
Yeah, so make sure to drop Envoy a follow on Twitter at Dylan Envoy, on his YouTube channel, of course, as I've already shouted out earlier in the episodes, to keep pumping those numbers up. 100k on the horizon. Maybe one day we'll get a plaque here on this channel. But yeah, thank you again, Envoy. Yeah, thanks so much, and we will see you next time.